What is the most fricked up thing a person you know has done? My 6-month-old nephew had a SIDS episode. He stopped breathing and the only reason he's alive is because my mom obsessively checked on him while she was babysitting. She and my brother managed to bring him around and then they went to the hospital. My mom was understandably freaked out by this, finding her first grandchild turning blue and all. So she called her sister for emotional support and her sister told her, verbatim, "Well, you just need to get Satan out of your life." Up to that point I'd told my mom for years that her family were emotionally and mentally abusive narcissists. That is what it took for her to finally believe me and cut them out. Now, after my mom's death, those same assholes have the nerve to act like they have no idea why mom stopped talking to them. I know someone who was doing a semester abroad in China during college. She let her boyfriend at the time fly out from the US for a week-plus visit, knowing she was going to dump him the second she saw him. She did it because it would have been too hard to dump him over the phone. But my dad ran a small but successful business for over a decade, but when my eldest brother started working with him he ruined us to the point that he almost made us homeless. After he left us high and dry. My dad had spent 3 to 4 years trying to do damage control but ultimately had to sell the business for less than half its worth. To this day my eldest brother has never apologized nor has taken any responsibility for his actions. I have zero respect for that scumbag. My wrestling coach in high school, Fred, got in an argument with his friend, Mitch, while they were both drunk at a party. The next day Fred went to Mitch's house to make amends. But instead they got into a physical fight and Fred hit his head. Fred went home, got his gun, went back Mitch's house, and shot Mitch in the head, killing him. That was 10+ years ago and Fred is still in jail. Some people thought that Fred might have had a concussion or some other condition that made him lose it, but there was no evidence of that. He always seemed cool to me, but you never know what's going on in someone else's head. He went to his wife's work New Year's party and got really drunk. He suddenly decided his wife was having an affair with her boss. A loud shouting match ensued and he suddenly pulled out a gun. He shot his wife, her boss, and himself in the head. He and her boss were doable. His wife lost her vision but survived. They had 3 small children. He slept with his son's long-term girlfriend. Like his son's first love. Told his son like it was no big deal. He told us about it at work, and said his son was being a bit of a about it. We then watched his life fall apart as both his kids cut him out of their lives. Dude found out he became a grandpa from his older daughter via an email with no pictures. As you can imagine, sleeping with his son's GF was the worst thing I'm aware of that he's done, but he was a horrible person generally speaking. Wife's 69-year-old mom shacked up with multiple men while her husband, my wife's stepdad, laid hospital dying of a brain tumor. She refused to visit him unless prompted by my wife and only then if we'd take her. She spent the entire visit asking how she's supposed to pay the bills when he dies while he drifted in and out of consciousness. She was incredibly abusive and bullying before he died anyway, but her behavior was sickening. She then refused to take part in any funeral planning whatsoever, leaving out all to my wife, who really struggled through the loss and just needed some love from her mom, but she just didn't care. Still cried and got all the sympathy at the funeral and wake. She tells everyone now how badly she was treated by the deceased and how he left her destitute. She's never worked a day in her life or contributed to their bills. I hate this woman but tolerated her until this. My best friend at the time had depression and drinking issues. One night he got really drunk and I think drugs were in the mix and he stole a gun out of his neighbor's barn and shot one of his toes off on purpose. He's doing better now, thankfully. Jesus. Some of these are. Oof. I'm sitting here thinking, well, that high school teacher that had sex with a student while her mom was also a teacher at that same school was a good story. Clearly not. My cousin was killed because a guy decided he'd kill himself by flooring it into another car on a major road. My cousin died, and his girlfriend had to undergo multiple extensive surgeries. The guy survived with minor injuries. A previous work colleague got back together with his girlfriend after they had been on a break. He later found out she was pregnant with the other guy's baby. So he paid 2 guys to hijack them, drive them to a secluded location, shoot her through the stomach to kill the baby and shoot him in the shoulder to make it look like a genuine hijacking. He was caught because he didn't pay the 2 guys and they ratted him out. He is now sitting in a South African jail. Edit 1. All 3 ended up in jail. Not just my work colleague. He paid half up front and didn't pay the second half after the job was complete. Edit 2. I don't think he will ever get out of jail. The prison did a cell search and he was found with kill lists which consisted of his ex and the other guy. All the lawyers and the judges that were involved in the case and escape plans. He went on trial again because of this. That's how we found out. It was in the local paper. Edit 3. For those saying this is fake, here is a link to a news article, https://www.dispatchlive.company/news/2020-11-21. The shooting of unborn Jenna May shocked the world. Now David Best wants parole/ https://www.dispatchlive.co.za/news/2020-11-21-2-1-the-world-now-david-best-wants-parole. It's behind a paywall but does give a brief description. Edit 4. Looks like he was paroled in 2020. https://www.pressreader.com/south africa/daily dispatch/20210717/28180569642005 https://www.pressreader.com/south-africa/daily-dispatch/20210717/28180569642005. There's a lot to pick from. But one of my ex-co-workers euthanized her 2 cats because she was getting a new couch and didn't want them to ruin it. She told us this at work and didn't get why she got a bunch of blank stares back. My bipolar alcoholic brother has a history of beating and choking his girlfriends. He moved in with my elderly father after my mom died and refused to leave, and my dad refused to make him leave or press charges against the domestic abuse because it was his son. My dad couldn't find peace in his own home and I was powerless to stop it. On different occasions my brother broke my dad's finger, almost broke his leg, and threw a knife and hit him handle first in the head and knocked a gash in his head. If it had been blade first he likely would have died. Still no charges. Luckily the arrests and other trouble piled up until he spent time in jail and rehab and got his own place, and I've moved my father closer to me now so I can protect him better and he can have a safe place to live. My brother is already talking about moving to my dad's old house for free since nobody is living there, since everybody basically had to move away to be safe from him. He's a total degenerate piece of poop. My friend went to party out of the country with his GF, his male friend and his female friend. They were at the club and his female friend, who is his GF's best friend, told him that she has never kissed anyone and that she wants her first kiss to be special. He grabbed her head and started French kissing her while she tried to make him stop. His GF was laughing about it. Afterwards, he recorded her crying about it in a taxi while mocking her, and he posted that vid to his close friends on Instagram. My friend's dad stabbed his wife in a heated argument and blew up their house while he, dad, was still inside. Heard the explosion from my own bedroom. Luckily my friend and his sister were elsewhere. The local newspaper articles were hauntingly graphic about it. In the late 1990s a guy in my fantasy football league was arrested for molesting his kids. He made his wife participate as well as the family pet. Real sick stuff. Creeped the rest of us out when we found out. A close friend of my mother's, we'll call her Maureen, was having an affair with a person who was also married, we'll call him Patrick. Patrick's wife, who we'll call Caroline, was quite mentally unstable, suffering badly from depression because Patrick was quite abusive and was always cheating on her. Despite him being a serial cheater, Maureen was sure that it was true love, and was completely committed to the idea of the two of them eventually divorcing their respective spouses and moving in together. Patrick was obviously dragging his heels with this. But the relationship lasted because both Patrick and Maureen were nasty people who delighted in tormenting Caroline. Patrick would constantly gaslight her, and Maureen would hint and always hang around but make it just deniable enough that nothing could be proven. With Caroline's history of mental illness, nobody believed her, figuring that she was still paranoid and accusing Patrick because he had cheated before. Patrick had convinced everyone he had changed, of course, and all of this combined to make Caroline look absolutely psychotic. Patrick and Maureen continued this behavior for over a year, absolutely tormenting this poor woman. One evening, my mother gets a phone call from Maureen, who seems to be in a state of shock. She asks my ma'am to come over, because she just got the news that Caroline has killed herself. My mom rushes over, expecting Maureen to be in a state of absolute guilt and regret. But when she gets there, Maureen is laughing about it, and says Patrick is coming over soon. My mom, who was not a very nice person herself, after all, she damn well knew about this and said nothing, was finally disgusted enough that she ripped into Maureen and left. Over the next couple of days, the story comes out, Caroline had hanged herself in her garage, and her teenage daughter had found her. Even more tragically, Caroline had timed it to ensure that neither of her children would find her, completely unexpectedly. The daughter had returned home early and gone looking for her. In the following months, Maureen broke up with her husband and filed for divorce. She and Patrick purchased an atrocious new-build suburban house together, and Patrick convinced Maureen to put the whole thing in her name. They lasted a few more months, and then Patrick started ghosting her, cheated on her, and left. Maureen's husband and teenage sons had cut contact with her. At first, the sons still maintained contact, but when it became clear that Patrick disliked the younger son and was turning Maureen against him, both brothers left to go live with their dad. Maureen was left with hundreds of thousands worth of debt, as the house was in her name. On the one hand, yeah, she got played by somebody who I'm pretty sure is a legitimate sociopath. On the other hand, she still played with a woman's life and celebrated her being out of the way when she killed herself as a direct result of this behavior. So I have absolutely zero sympathy for her. I think Patrick brought out her true colors, because normal people do not freaking do that. There was a decomposing dead cat stuck between a fence and a wall next to the gym in my school. If physical education was our first lesson, we had to wait in front of the gym until someone fetched the keys. My friend Jason went to fetch the keys and left his bag. This fat class bully Toby used 2 sticks to pick up the dead cat, opened Jason's bag, and put the cat in. Jason hasn't noticed anything until we were in the locker room. He opened the bag, saw the dead cat, dropped the bag, cat fell apart. Soup of rotten cat insides crawling with maggots splashed to the floor. Class was cancelled. Cleaning company had to disinfect the locker room.